Most money problems don't begin with a bad decision. They begin with a normal day. You wake up, check your phone, go about your routine. You buy what you usually buy. You respond the way you usually respond. You make choices the same way you always have. Nothing dramatic happens. No alarms go off. Life feels stable enough. And that's exactly why the problem grows unnoticed. Because the most expensive habits don't feel reckless. They feel familiar. They feel reasonable. They feel like, this is just how I am. You don't experience them as financial decisions. You experience them as preferences, routines, or personality traits. You say things like, I'm not cheap. I value quality. I don't like to stress about money. These sound harmless, even healthy, and sometimes they are. But slowly, without realizing it, these statements start making decisions for you. You don't track closely because you trust yourself. You don't question certain expenses because they've become part of your identity. You don't revisit old patterns because they feel settled, earned, justified. And none of this feels irresponsible. From the outside, it looks like confidence. From the inside, it feels like comfort. But comfort can be expensive. Not because you lack discipline, not because you're careless, but because something subtle has taken root in the background of your thinking. Something that influences what you justify, what you ignore, and what you quietly refuse to reconsider. It's not greed. It's not laziness. It's not a lack of knowledge. It's the part of you that values consistency more than accuracy. The part that wants your choices to align with who you believe you are, even when circumstances change. The part that would rather protect a familiar self-image than sit with a small, uncomfortable question. Psychologically, this is how ego actually works. Ego isn't arrogance, it's identity protection. It's the internal pressure to stay coherent with your past decisions, your values, your story about yourself. And once money becomes tied to that story, it stops being flexible. So instead of asking, is this still the best choice for me? You unconsciously ask, what choice confirms who I already think I am? That's when small leaks begin. You overpay for convenience because you see yourself as someone who's past penny pinching. You hold on to an underperforming investment because selling would feel like admitting you were wrong. You stay in a role or lifestyle that no longer fits because changing it would challenge the image you've built. None of these feel emotional in the moment. They feel logical, defensible, even mature. And that's what makes them dangerous. Because ego-driven decisions rarely announce themselves as ego-driven. They disguise themselves as confidence, loyalty, patience, or self-respect. And here's the part most people miss. This doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you lack intelligence. In fact, smart, capable people are often more vulnerable to this because they're better at rationalizing their choices. The ego's job isn't to sabotage you, it's to keep your internal world stable. But financial reality doesn't care about stability. It rewards accuracy, adaptation, willingness to update. And when your self-image becomes more important than being correct, even by a small margin, the cost compounds quietly. Not all at once, not in a way that triggers panic, but in missed opportunities, delayed adjustments, money that leaks instead of explodes. That's why the real damage doesn't show up first in your bank account. It shows up in what you don't question anymore, in decisions you make automatically, in patterns that once made sense but no longer do. And until that link is visible, most people keep trying to fix money problems at the surface level. Budgets, tactics, rules, useful tools, but blunt ones. Because the real leak isn't behavior alone. It's the part of you that equates changing your mind with losing status. The part that hears reconsider as you failed. The part that confuses humility with insecurity. But adjusting doesn't make you weaker. It makes you solvent, financially and psychologically. The moment you can separate your identity from your past choices, money becomes flexible again. And that's when the leaks finally become visible.